Namaskar, a warm welcome to World News, an Indian perspective on All India Radio. This is Abhijit Larang and with me is Aditi Lumba, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says Roadmap 2030 for India-UK relationship has made substantial progress. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov arrives in New Delhi to hold bilateral talks with External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. India donates 10,000 metric tons of wheat to Afghanistan for the second time under UN World Food Programme. India asks China to ensure that interests of downstream states are not harmed by any activities in upstream areas. Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla discusses India-US economic cooperation and strategic partnership with US Deputy National Security Advisor Dalip Singh. Imran Khan-led government in Pakistan reduced to a minority. National Assembly adjourned till April 3. In women's cricket, England to meet Australia in ICC World Cup final on Sunday, and in IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings takes on Lucknow Super Giants at Barbon Stadium in Mumbai. External Affairs Minister of India S. Jaishankar held delegation-level talks with visiting UK Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs Elizabeth Truss in New Delhi on Thursday. During the talks, Dr. Jaishankar said the Roadmap 2030 for India-UK relationship has made substantial progress. He said a lot remains to be done. Ms. Truss arrived in New Delhi earlier today for a day-long visit. India-UK relationship was elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership during the India-UK virtual summit held between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his British counterpart Boris Johnson on 4th of May last year. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov reached New Delhi on Thursday on a two-day visit to India. He will hold bilateral meeting with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Friday. This is the highest level visit from Russia to India after Moscow launched its military operations in Ukraine on 24th of last month. Mr. Lavrov is in India after concluding a two-day visit to China.
India and the United Nations World Food Programme UNWFP has signed a second agreement for donation of the next batch of 10,000 metric tons of wheat to Afghanistan. The first agreement was signed last month. India decided to give 50,000 metric tons of wheat to the people of Afghanistan in view of the deteriorating humanitarian situation and response to the appeals made by the United Nations. As of now, the first tranche of 10,000 metric tons of wheat has been successfully delivered to Afghanistan, and delivery of the next batch of 10,000 metric tons of wheat is in process. The fifth edition of BIMSTEC Summit in Colombo saw to it that the partner countries have taken yet another step to move forward on connectivity issues among them. In our hotspot segment today, we have a commentary on 5th BIMSTEC Summit by our Foreign Affairs Editor, Dr. Atul K. Tiwari.
The Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral, Technical and Economic Cooperation, BIMSTEC, is a regional organization that was established on 6 June 1997 with the signing of the Bangkok Declaration. Initially known as BIST-EC, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Thailand Economic Cooperation, the organization is now known as BIMSTEC, with Myanmar joining the group in December 1997, followed by Bhutan and Nepal in February 2004. It is made up of member states that are littoral to and dependent upon the Bay of Bengal. On 6 June 1997, representatives of the governments of Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka and Thailand came together in Bangkok and signed the declaration on the establishment of Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Thailand Economic Cooperation, or the BIST-EC. The main aim of the regional group was the promotion of economic cooperation between countries bordering the Bay of Bengal. With Myanmar joining on 22nd December 1997, the group was renamed BIMST-EC, Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand Economic Cooperation. With the admission of Nepal and Bhutan at the 6th Ministerial Meeting in Thailand in July 2004, the grouping was renamed at the first summit in Bangkok on 31st July 2004 as the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, or the BIMSTEC. The BIMSTEC's institutional evolution has been gradual. Initially, the cooperation within BIMSTEC was confined to 6 sectors in 1997. These were trade, technology, energy, transport, tourism and fisheries. It was expanded in 2008 to incorporate agriculture, public health, poverty alleviation, counter-terrorism, environment, culture, people-to-people contact and climate change. The 5th BIMSTEC summit was held in hybrid mode in Colombo with Sri Lanka as the chair and the leaders from participating nations joining in virtual mode. It was preceded by foreign ministers' meet in Colombo. The theme of the 5th summit was towards a resilient region, prosperous economies, healthy people. COVID-19 pandemic-related challenges and the uncertainties within the international system, the goal of taking BIMSTEC technical and economic cooperation to the next level were at the heart of deliberations by the leaders of the 7 nations. The main outcome of the summit was the adoption and signing of the BIMSTEC Charter, which formalizes the grouping into an organization. The cooperation activities will now come under 7 pillars. Each member country will lead one pillar. India will lead the security pillar of BIMSTEC. The leaders formed up the BIMSTEC Master Plan for Transport Connectivity. It lays out a guidance framework for connectivity-related activities in the region in the future. The twin planks would give a boost to mobility and trade in the region. Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually addressed the 5th BIMSTEC summit. He said, recent developments in Europe have raised questions about the stability of the international order and the need of the hour is to have greater regional cooperation. Mr. Modi observed that adopting the BIMSTEC Charter is for developing institution architecture of the BIMSTEC grouping. With the Bay of Bengal littoral region facing challenges of health and economic security, the need of the hour is unity and cooperation. The Prime Minister said it was time to make the Bay of Bengal the bridge of connectivity, prosperity and security. He underlined the need to move forward in areas of connectivity, marine cooperation, security and economic integration. He announced that India would provide $1 million to the BIMSTEC Secretariat to increase its operational budget. 3 BIMSTEC agreements were signed in Colombo at the 5th BIMSTEC Summit. These include BIMSTEC Convention on Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters, BIMSTEC Memorandum of Understanding on Mutual Cooperation in the Field of Diplomatic Training, and Memorandum of Association on Establishment of BIMSTEC Technology Transfer Facility. Prime Minister Modi summed it up aptly when he said, the results of this landmark summit will write a golden chapter in BIMSTEC's history. Thailand assumes the chairmanship of BIMSTEC for 2022, and the onus is on the member nations to work for a prosperous, resilient, robust and open Bay of Bengal.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
India carefully monitors all developments relating to the Brahmaputra River, including plans by China to develop hydropower projects. In a written reply in the Rajya Sabha, the upper house of Parliament, Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan on Thursday informed that a hydropower project at Zangmu was declared fully operational in October 2015. In its 12th five-year plan, China planned to develop 3 more hydropower projects on the main stream of Brahmaputra River in Tibet Autonomous Region. Of the 3, the first unit of the hydropower project in Jiacha was operationalized in August 2020. It is understood that another Dagu hydropower project is also operationalized. He also informed that in March 2021, China adopted its 14th five-year plan, which mentions plans for hydropower development on the lower reaches of the Brahmaputra River. The minister said, as a lower riparian state with considerable established user rights to the waters of the transporter rivers, the government has consistently conveyed its views and concerns to the Chinese authorities. He added that India has urged them to ensure that the interests of downstream states are not harmed by any activities in upstream areas. Mr. Muralidharan said the two countries have established an expert-level mechanism on transborder rivers and various issues are discussed with China under the ambit of this mechanism as well as through diplomatic channels. India-China bilateral trade in the year 2021 increased by 43.31% on year to reach $125.62 billion. The Indian Embassy in its annual commercial report on trade with China in 2021 said India's exports to China increased by 34.28% year-on-year to reach $28.03 billion, while India's imports from China witnessed an increase by 46.14% to reach $97.59 billion. The trade deficit came at $69.56 billion, increasing by 51.53% year-on-year. The report further said, in 2021, India was the 14th largest trade partner of China, the 8th largest export destination for Chinese products, and the 24th largest exporter to China.
Indian Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla met U.S. Deputy National Security Advisor for International Economics and G20 Sherpa Dalip Singh in New Delhi on Thursday. They discussed India-U.S. economic cooperation and strategic partnership. External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said in a tweet that they look forward to working together on global issues of mutual interest, including in G20. India and South Korea held consultations on the disarmament and non-proliferation in New Delhi on Thursday. The External Affairs Ministry said that the two sides exchanged views on developments in the field of disarmament and non-proliferation relating to nuclear, chemical and biological domains, outer space matters, regional non-proliferation issues, conventional weapons and export control regimes. The Indian delegation was led by Sandeep Arya, Additional Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs. The South Korean delegation was led by Yoon-gyo Park, Director General for Non-Proliferation and Nuclear Affairs in South Korea's Foreign Ministry.
In Pakistan, Imran Khan-led government has been reduced to a minority as the ruling Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf PTI got another major shock. One of its key allies, Muttahida Qawmi Movement Pakistan MQMP, has quit the ruling coalition and joined the ranks of the opposition. Imran Khan's situation is precarious given that 3 of the 4 allies, MQMP, PMLQ and PAP, stated their support for the opposition's no-confidence motion and said that they will vote accordingly. The opposition parties in Pakistan are seen to have the support of 162 members of the House. The National Assembly has a total strength of 342 members, with the majority mark being 172. The PTI-led coalition was formed with the support of 179 members, Imran Khan's PTI having 155 members, and other major allies including Balochistan Awami Party BAP and the Grand Democratic Alliance GDA have some 20 seats. The proceedings of the National Assembly adjourned till April 3rd, soon after it convened on Thursday to discuss the no-confidence motion against Imran Khan. Meanwhile, Mr. Khan has reiterated his claims of foreign conspiracy and said that a foreign nation is trying to oust him over its independent foreign policy choices made by him. Addressing the people of Pakistan on Thursday, he claimed a foreign nation sent a message that Imran Khan needs to be removed, else as the country will suffer consequences.
The Indian government on Thursday said some Pakistani nationals belonging to minority communities, mainly Hindus and Sikhs, have not returned to their country in recent years because of religious persecution. These pilgrims came to India on a group pilgrim visa. This was stated by Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan in a written reply in the Rajya Sabha, the upper house of parliament. He informed around 17,000 Indian pilgrims have visited Pakistan in the last 5 years, while over 2,000 Pakistani pilgrims have visited India. He said pilgrims visiting between the two countries are covered under the bilateral protocols on visiting to religious shrines in 1974. The minister said pilgrimages to 15 shrines in Pakistan and 6 shrines in India are facilitated under this protocol. Heavy fighting raged on the outskirts of Kiev and other zones on Thursday. A convoy of buses headed to Mariupol in another bid to evacuate people from the besieged port city after the Russian military agreed to a limited ceasefire in the area. A new round of talks aimed at stopping the fighting was scheduled for Friday. The Red Cross said its teams were headed for Mariupol with medical supplies and other relief and hoped to take civilians out of the beleaguered city.
The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, has said that more than 4 million people have left Ukraine since the start of the Russian-Ukraine conflict on 24th of February. UNHCR Senior Emergency Coordinator in Poland, Alex Munn, said it is a tragic milestone and the fastest exodus of refugees moving in recent history. According to the UNHRC, more than 2.3 million refugees from Ukraine entered Poland, 608,000 in Romania, over 387,000 in Moldova, and about 364,000 in Hungary in the last 5 weeks. Meanwhile, UN Children's Agency UNICEF has said half of the refugees from Ukraine are children, and the number of children fleeing their home continues to climb. The 20th edition of the bilateral naval exercise between India and the French navies, Varuna, is being conducted in the Arabian Sea till the 3rd of April. We have a report.
The Defence Minister of India said various units including ships, submarines, maritime patrol aircraft, fighter aircraft and helicopters of the two navies are participating in the exercise. These units will endeavour to enhance and hone their operational skills in maritime theatre, augment interoperability to undertake maritime security operations. They will also demonstrate their commitment to promote peace, security and stability in the region as an integrated force. The exercise has been a principal driver for operational level interactions between the two navies. The exercise has underscored the shared commitment of both nations to security, safety and freedom of the global maritime commons. The bilateral naval exercises between the two navies were initiated in 1993. With Dipendra's report, this is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay for World News, All India Radio.
Civil Aviation Minister of India, Jyotiraditya Scindia, informed Lok Sabha, the lower house of parliament, that there are 18 remote pilot training centres in the country till now. In response to a question, Mr. Scindia said the number of pilots for drone operations and training centres to facilitate the same would go up in the coming years.
There are, as of today, as I mentioned, 18 remote pilot training organizations that have got authorization from DGCA. 1 in Gujarat, 4 in Haryana, 1 in Himachal Pradesh, 1 in Jharkhand, 1 in Karnataka, 1 in Madhya Pradesh, 4 in Maharashtra, 2 in Telangana, 1 in Tamil Nadu and 2 in Uttar Pradesh. But this list is going to be expanded very rapidly.
The minister said drones are offered tremendous benefits to almost all sectors of the economy, and these include agriculture, vaccine delivery, search and rescue, mapping and law enforcement, to name a few. Mr. Scindia said the government released the Liberalized Drone Rules 2021 on 25th of August 2021. Mr. Scindia also informed that domestic airlines are operating 1,465 flights, whilst international players are operating 1,733 flights since the government opted to resume international flights at full strength. Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Bhupendra Yadav, on Thursday said that India has always been a solution provider on the issue of climate change. Replying to the discussion on climate change in Lok Sabha, the lower house of parliament, Mr. Yadav said that under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, India was among the few countries in the world that not only set nationally determined contributions in 2015, but achieved them before time, setting an example for others. Underlining that, the Prime Minister has often talked about climate justice along with climate change. Mr. Yadav said the developed nations who are responsible for carbon emission must take responsibility. He said the developed countries have acknowledged this earlier and also took a vow of $100 billion to be given to developing countries. He also informed the House that the carbon emission of developed countries that accounts for a population of 17% in the world is 60%, while India's population is 17% and its carbon emission is just 4%.
Britain has said that it is withdrawing its judges from Hong Kong's top court because keeping them there would legitimize oppression in the former British colony. Announcing the decision, British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss said that there has been a systematic erosion of liberty and democracy in Hong Kong. She said the situation has reached a tipping point where it is no longer tenable for British judges to sit on Hong Kong's leading court and would risk legitimizing oppression. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the two UK judges had concluded that the constraints of the national security law make it impossible for them to continue to serve in the way that they would want. The two senior British judges on the court submitted their resignations on Wednesday. British judges have sat on the court since Hong Kong was returned to China in 1997. Despite escalating tensions between the United States and Russia over Ukraine crisis, a NASA astronaut caught a Russian right back to Earth after a U.S. record of 355 days at the International Space Station. Mark Van Hey landed in a Soyuz capsule in Kazakhstan alongside the Russian space agencies Pyotr Dubrov and Anton Skapelrov. Before departing the space station, Mr. Skapelrov said, "People have problems on Earth, but on orbit, we are one crew." In a live NASA TV broadcast on Tuesday, he said, "The space station is a symbol of friendship and cooperation and future of exploration of space."
The Sensex and the Nifty today launched modest losses. Both stock indices fell amid negative cues from global share markets. The BSE Sensex closed below 58,600 level, while the NSE Nifty ended near 17,450 points. A report from the business desk.
The Sensex fell 115 points or 0.2% to close at 58,569. Nifty also slipped 34 points or 0.2% to settle at 17,465. In global share markets, Asian share markets declined except Korea's Kospi, which managed to add 0.4%. Japan's Nikkei 225 fell 0.7% and Singapore's Straits Times plunged 1%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng plunged 1.1% and China's Shanghai Composite Indices slipped 0.4%. European share markets were also down marginally in intraday trade. Oil prices declined around 6%. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading around $107.10 per barrel. Back home, gold prices rose to 60 rupees at multi-commodity exchange for April contracts. And the rupee strengthened 12 paise against the US dollar. The domestic currency closed at 75 rupees and 79 paise per dollar. Lalema Aneja Dang for World News, All India Radio.
The Indian junior women's hockey team led by Salma Tat is all geared up for the FIH World Cup, which gets underway in Potchefstroom, South Africa from Friday. The Indian team will begin their campaign against Wales on 2nd April, followed by the second Pool D match against Germany. They will take on Malaysia in the third match and will hope to play the quarterfinals on 8th April, while the semi-finals and final will be held on 10th and 12th April respectively. In women's cricket, England will meet Australia in Sunday's ICC World Cup final after recording a convincing 137-run victory over South Africa in the second semi-final in Christchurch. Opener Danny White made 129 of 125 deliveries to help England put an imposing 293 for 8 after South Africa won the toss and elected to field. Chasing the target of 294 runs, South Africa could score only 156 runs in 38 overs. Australia entered the finals after trouncing West Indies in their first semi-final match on Wednesday.
One of the best soccer players of contemporary era, Cristiano Ronaldo, has an opportunity to win the World Cup and a winner's medal. Will Cristiano Ronaldo be the fifth time lucky in achieving his goals? Well, only time will tell that. However, it was quite evident on Tuesday that Cristiano Ronaldo was over the moon with Portugal qualifying for the Qatar World Cup. From clapping to smiling to singing, Cristiano Ronaldo took a few moments to celebrate with his Portugal teammates after qualifying for what would be his record-time fifth World Cup. Ronaldo wrote Wednesday on Instagram that the years go by, but the objectives always remain the same. Others with a chance to join Ronaldo by playing in Qatar are Argentine great Lionel Messi, Mexico goalkeeper Guillermo Ocao, and Mexico midfielder Andres Guardado, who also have been to 4 World Cups. Ronaldo will be playing in his 10th straight major tournament in a streak that started at the 2004 European Championship and includes 4 World Cups and 4 other European tournaments, a competition he helped Portugal win in 2016.
In the IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings have set a victory target of 211 runs for Lucknow Super Giants at Brabant Stadium in Mumbai. Earlier, Lucknow won the toss and opted to bowl. Put into bat, Chennai Super Kings made 210 for the loss of 7 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. For CSK, Robin Uthappa made 50 runs, while Shivam Dubey made 49 runs. Chasing the victory target of 211 runs, Lucknow Super Giants were 128 for the loss of 2 wickets in 13 overs when reports last came in.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. Let us take a look at the press reports on China. Many media houses note China on Wednesday reported more than 8,600 new domestically transmitted COVID-19 cases, again reigniting the debate on finding an exit path from its stringent zero-COVID policy, which is frustrating millions in lockdown and putting severe strain on the economy. NPR reported China tightens restrictions and bars callers from international conferences.
Now let's take a look at what made headlines in Nepal. Khabur Hub writes that Nepal Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deoba is going for India on a 3-day official visit on Friday. A cabinet meeting held in Baluwatwa finalized names of 4 ministers who will accompany the Prime Ministers during his official visit.
And now let's have a look at what made headlines in Bangladesh. Constructive Bangladesh-India ties could be a major stabilizing factor for South Asia, said State Minister for Foreign Affairs Saher Alam, reports Daily Star. Speaking at a seminar in Dhaka, Shahryar Alam said that both the countries have resolved contentious issues like land and maritime boundary and progress in terms of trade and connectivity. Some irritants, like death of Bangladeshis on the border, water sharing of trans-border boundary rivers remain.
Let us have some brief news from Afghanistan. Al Jazeera headline reads, in Afghanistan, people selling babies, young girls to survive. It says the dire economic situation sees children dying of starvation as millions of Afghans struggle to put food on their tables. AP headline reads, UN seeks record $4.4 billion for Afghans struggling under Taliban. In Indian southern state of Tamil Nadu, turtle conservation groups and state wildlife officials in capital Chennai have collected more than 52,000 olive ridley turtle eggs in the last 3 months in various locations near the seashores. The turtle nestling season began during the beginning of the year. The hatchlings are taken out of the hatcheries during the night to avoid being taken by crows and dogs. We have more from our correspondent.
In the last 3 months, olive ridleys were collected from Besanagar, Injambakam, Neelankarai and Puliket in and around Chennai. Of the total eggs, 12,970 hatchlings were released into the sea yesterday. The hatchlings, which are attracted to bright light, can endanger their lives. Chennai Wildlife Warden E. Prashant said that they are taken during the night and let into the sea to prevent them from being attacked or being entangled into the fishing nets. Officials and volunteers of the Students' Sea Turtle Conservation Network, a voluntary group since 1987, has also been involved in conserving and creating awareness about the endangered olive ridley sea turtle. They conduct a walk on Friday and Saturday nights. Joy, AIR News, Chennai.
A quick look at the headlines once again. Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says Roadmap 2030 for India-UK relationship has made substantial progress. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov arrives in New Delhi to hold bilateral talks with External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. India donates 10,000 metric tons of wheat to Afghanistan for the second time under UN World Food Programme. India asks China to ensure that interests of downstream states are not harmed by any activities in upstream areas. Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla discusses India-US economic cooperation and strategic partnership with US Deputy National Security Advisor Talib Singh. Imran Khan-led government in Pakistan reduced to a minority. National Assembly adjourned till April 3. In women's cricket, England to meet Australia in ICC World Cup final on Sunday. And in IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings takes on Lucknow Super Giants at Bhawan Stadium in Mumbai. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnava Jan, by artists from Iran.
Occur
that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.